I don't think this is the last level before the boss, but it could be. I feel like there was way more items than we needed than that. Just that. Oh, okay, there's the exit. And who's around the corner? Stepping awfully slowly. What? Oh, it's a werewolf. Nice, that's the thing that we had to quick time. Cool, cool, very good. Alright, so, what should we talk about today? Why don't we talk about the importance of being bored? This is kind of abstract, I think, but it shouldn't be. So yeah, I grew up in the 90s, right? Born in 92. So, granted, when you're really little, everything's pretty exciting. So let's say I was, in my more cognizant years in the 2000s, right? And, what was around in the 2000s? These things are so annoying. Just stand still and die! Ah! Man, I hate those. You just float around too much. Okay, but we are prepared. I have so much bread. I have so much bread! But yeah. So there was the internet, and there was like PlayStation 1 and like later Xbox and stuff. But we didn't have internet, and we didn't have TV, and we didn't have the PlayStation 2, and we didn't have Xbox. At best, I had like a Win95, which I would be able to play like Sonic CD on, I think I had, which is kind of a really hard game, and I was never really crazy about the Sonic series because I like roleplay games. I always have. I had an NES, like I said before. Oh my gosh, they're so annoying. Just die. But yeah, you can't play the NES all the time because the games are kinda horrifically minimal and difficult in a not super exciting way. And to better understand that, I will actually do playthroughs of some of those games here on this channel, but not now. Not today. We're gonna play some classic cool games first. I didn't get the PS2 until, like, I would say, like, middle school. And before then, there was nothing to do. And and it's crazy to me, but people would, like, look at me when I was explaining this to, like, classmates and stuff. Say, I don't have internet, no phone, no PlayStation, nothing. And people would ask me, you don't watch TV? What, you don't have movies? You don't have the internet? What do you do? And my response was short and sweet. I do whatever I wanted to, because I was not constrained by the need to consume pre-conditioned content. And that's a very obnoxious way of saying, basically, I made up my own fun, instead of having to rely on someone else to deliver fun to me. And so, I learned how to be a creative person. I would draw and do art and try as many art mediums as possible. I spent a lot of time in libraries looking up art books. I spent a lot of time reading and developing a taste in content. I spent a lot of time going over old movies. We were allowed to have old movies, like black and white stuff, like Hitchcock and such. So I developed, my own preference and style for cinematography. Jeez, these things are annoying. Seriously, why? Where did I get a bomb from? Okay, let me just kinda... There we go. You gotta get around back of them, because they are always gonna kind of drift away. What else did I do? I went outside and I played, I ran around, I caught bugs, I existed in real time without electronics, and honestly, it was the best possible childhood. Which, sounds weird to a lot of people who just can't even imagine not having a screen shoved in their face. And it's cool that a lot of people grew up with that, to have access to that, but I'm really glad that I didn't, even if it meant that I got bullied a lot as a kid, because, kids will, any difference that you have is a reason to attack you with children for some reason, because children are evil. I was able to upgrade twice, but now I'm out of junk that I need, so let's finish off these last couple enemies. Of course it's you around the corner. Of course it is. But yeah, so like I grew up being bored, and I grew up as a response of being bored, finding things to do. And also just kind of being okay with spending time like by myself or even with other people and not having to plug in to, oh, we're spending time together, therefore we must turn on a screen and absorb what was in a wall there and absorb content, and that will equal correctly interacting with other humans. No, I can just sit down and have a conversation with people. You know, mental health aside of, you know, having difficulties with conversations or whatever, that still is a, you know, factor, but I had the opportunity to actually work on it. Which, wow, novel concept. There's nowhere to hide. Nowhere to, like, be separated because there was a screen between all conversations. So it was just a different time, but it was like a healthier time. So I feel like, just like as with gaming right now, how it kind of got taken over by corporations pushing an idea, eventually that idea is going to prove itself to have just been marketing all along. And that goes with, like, the essentialness of screens in every hand, including children's hands. In reality, no kid had phones until after 9/11. And when 9/11 happened, then all the parents realized, oh my gosh, we want to be able to easily contact our child if something goes wrong. So that makes sense. So that's why kids started having phones. But then, you know, it went from this emergency tool to this just sort of addicting content thing. Oh, I might as well switch out to you. You've already upgraded. And so, you know, we've kind of like lost the plot. Oh, man. I just got that antidote, man. What the heck? How annoying. Yeah, so it went from, we have to have our kids have a phone so we can get a hold of them in case another one of these things happens, some other crisis. You know, I want to be able to contact them if they're, man, everything's falling to pieces, isn't it? So you can't blame parents for, at least at that time, for choosing to give their kids phones. But nowadays, it's not like there's less likelihood of crises occurring, so much as it's kind of like lost its purpose, and now it's just a normalization that every human has to have a black mirror in their hands, otherwise they're incomplete in some way. And it's changing, you know, how people behave in an interesting and very negative ways, which I'm not even going to get into now, but if you want to know about it, then check out some videos on basically what teachers have to put up with these days, you know? At most, when we were kids in like middle school, we would have somebody, the rich kids, the brats, which in my area was everybody, basically. I grew up in a very snooty, hoity-toity area despite not having those things. So I got, you know, parents went out of their way to get us into a great area, and as a result, we were bullied pretty severely by kids that just assumed things had to be the way they were, which was to their detriment, and they never even knew it. Wow, that could have killed me. Get out of here. And give me that. So yeah, anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but, the TLDR is, it's actually good to be bored. It's better for your mental health to just be able to learn how to spend time with yourself and not have to plug into anything. Or to learn how to develop skills like reading, or drawing, or some sort of craft that allows you to unplug. Because being able to focus on those, like, real, in your hands things, it's better for your mental health, ultimately. Because we've proven over and over again with science that these social media and what phones and stuff have become, it causes people to come, like, I'm not saying it's causing anxiety, because that is a thing that exists anyway, but it definitely worsens things for people. And, you know, it gives people access to be bullied in even more ways than just at school, you know? And it's overall a pretty negative thing. It doesn't have to be, but in its current state, pre-collapse of this, like, you know, we're in like the AAA gaming is good era of phones and online technology. And I feel like we're going towards the end of it now, where people are realizing, but maybe it's actually marketing and it's all a lie, and it's all quite terrible, because when you leave marketing people in charge of everything, they have no concept of quality control or regulations or anything that would actually, yes, I need that, would actually cause a positive, good environment that people actually want to spend time in. So hopefully it collapses at some point soon and we can actually, like, get back to enjoying the internet. I would really like that. I grew up with, like, forums and healthy conversations with online people and normalcy, you know? I was able to get access to internet at school, in case you're wondering, by the way. No, I did not have internet at home until I was, like, 21. So, yeah, and I don't actually regret it at all. It was cool having to just check into a forum like once or twice a day while I was at school hours, and the people online knew that I would show up at regular times, and then because they liked to talk to me, they would try and show up then, and we might be able to exchange a few sentences before we'd depart, and yeah, it was really a cool time. But then I got to, like, go home and be offline. And that's like a concept that doesn't exist now. Like, you can't even, like, game offline. You have to be plugged into some streaming service. It's all quite bizarre and costly in a lot of different ways. Both, like, fiscally, obviously, it costs you internet, and it costs electricity, and it costs, like, environmental factors to run all these servers. And also, yeah, it's not really good for people's mental health to be plugged into such a toxic iteration of the internet at all times. It's not good. And, you know, I'm not saying the internet is evil. I'm saying that internet, as it exists, strictly to serve megacorporations, is pretty sucky. And I don't think anyone is really arguing that idea at all. Durable. Hey, that's got a special effect. We need to fold that into our current weapon. That would be good. And that's got quench. We already have quench, I'm pretty sure. Yes, we do. Cool. I got an enchanted thing and I didn't even notice. What did we get? Nice, another new weapon. Awesome. Yeah, I think we're done with this level. So yeah, what I'm saying is, try to find yourself a real hobby. Or, I do actually consider gaming a real hobby, but for most of the time, or most of my life, it's always been an offline thing, you know? And it's always been a story-oriented thing until the 2000s, where they started heavily marketing shooters. It used to be a very story-oriented and creative kind of a thing. But yeah, get yourself, like, a hobby that doesn't involve social media. Or if you're doing social media, like I'm kind of doing social media, then, like, don't be so looking at the metrics of it. Just upload and say stuff because you want to share with people. And yeah, find ways to unplug from social media and try to be bored. Like, try to find time to just sit quietly and, like, listen to your mind and just see what happens and try to be bored. Anyway, that's kind of the goal of this channel, is to just be a normal person on the internet and not some, like, social media ephemeral marketing android, I guess. That's what I would call most influencers. Yeah, so my goal is not to be an influencer. My goal is to be an individual. And I invite you to come with me, to be bored with me, to just tune in and hang out. And don't be looking for something that's tickling your brain so hard, because it is dangerous and it is bad for you. And it probably sounds strange, but the facts are in. The facts are finally in. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and have a great rest of the week. And yeah, bye!